There we go, chat. Okay, just to get a feel, yeah, God is great, man. All day, every day. Love it. Love it. All the time. There we go. There we go. So looks like we got more beginners than repeats. So we're going to focus on both today, but I'm going to make sure that everybody in here gets comfortable with what we're going to be trading. The style that we're going to be trading today is called meat and potatoes. I'm going to go ahead and bring a sheet up. This style is basically it's been created to be able to trade within the trend, be able to have a set of rules to identify the trend across all time frames and be able to identify zones once we go through a set of rules to find out if we have a setup or not, meaning all these specific steps. You'll see here on the left side of this sheet where it says trend, ignore wicks, steps 1 through 6. We can go through on any time frame, on any pair, and we go down this list 1 through 6 to be able to identify if all of these things that we're looking for are taking place. And if so, then we go over to the right side of the sheet to go ahead and identify a zone. So we'll go ahead and jump right into it. This is an interactive session, so I'm pretty good at missing stuff in the chat box. Feel free to take your mic off and speak, because this is going to be live action examples with you all, and I'm going to be asking you all questions, and I want y'all to put your input in so we make sure everybody's understanding it. So starting with what we call the left side, this is to identify trend. You'll see here on trend, it says ignore wicks. So in reference to the left side, when we're going over these trend rules, we're always going to be ignoring the wicks at this point. We'll be bringing the wicks back on the right side because they're incredibly, incredibly important. But for this phase, we are going to ignore the wicks. So step one, also before we get started, I have another updated sheet that will be coming out. There was a couple of issues with it, so I'll have it next session, or I'll put it in the Discord group. But you might hear me saying blue, red, blue, or red, blue, red, or green, red, green. Just know, anytime that I'm saying blue and or green, it's the same color. I'm used to trading on various platforms that use blue and or green as the candle going up, the bullish candle. So anytime, just don't get confused with that. Blue is green, green is blue. Red is always red, though. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and pull a chart up here. We'll start here on, let's go right here. Okay, so you'll see here, step 1, action candle. In reference to this trading style, whenever we have candles that are sequential candles, meaning if there's one candle that's green right here, that counts as one candle. But when you look to the left, the next color over, you see that we have red. But there's also not just one, there's 2 red candles. We count the 2 red candles as one candle. Reason being, because right now we're on a 60-minute chart. But if we change this, let's say we go to a 2-hour chart, do you see how those 2 red candles just became one green candle? It's the only reason that happened is because these candles are marked in time increments. So as of this point, this is one 1-hour candle. The only reason why there's 2 right here is because that 60-minute period ended and the next 60-minute period started. This candle opened here, closed, opened here, closed, and went down. So that's why it counts as one candle when we go to a higher time frame. So in reference to this trading style, regardless of what time frame we're on, whatever chart you're looking at, whatever color there is, subsequential candle colors, it counts as one candle. So here, this one green would be one green candle. These 2 red counts as one red candle. These 2 green count as one green candle. One red candle, one green candle, one red, one green. These 1, 2, 3, 4 reds, those would be one red candle. 2 greens is 1, 3 reds is 1 red. So y'all get that. I mean, it's pretty easy to understand, but you just need to know that every time you're looking at it, if there's no break in color, if it's red candle, red candle, it's always counts as one color. This thing has a lot to do with colors. So with that being said, step 1, And I promise all this stuff will make sense. It probably does now. And all these things are so very relative, and you'll love this. But step one, action candles. The first thing we do is identify the first color of candle. In this instance, it is going to be green, right? Everybody see that? One green candle. We call that the action. That is a current candle color. That's the current candle that's moving. That's the most relevant. That's the most in time. That's what's happening right now. That candle's moving. It's going up or it's going down. That's the action. That's where the action's at. That's where the movement's at. Every other candle next to it has already closed. It's not going to move again. So this is the action candle, green. Step one, we've identified what the action candle is, or color of candles, and that's going to be green. We ignore that. We then go over to the left to step two, identifying what our anchor candle is. We are then going to mark our high and our low of our anchor candle. The two red candles, right? 1, 2 red candles, that is our anchor. Step one, identify our action. That's the green candle. We ignore it. Step two, identify the color to the left. That's red. There's 2 red candles. Mark the high and the low of it. That is our anchor. Step three, we have to identify if it is sideways or not. What does sideways mean? That means if it's sideways, again, we go to the left to the next color scheme, and that's going to be green. 1, 2 greens. We have to ask ourselves, is the 2 green candles bigger or engulfing the 2 red candles? Are these 2 green candles bigger than these 2 red candles? No, the answer is no. So it is not sideways. That's good. We can then go to step 4. We have to identify the control candle. Who's in control right now? And you all see this candle right here is kind of flickering. It's going to red now. Just pretend it's green as we're doing this example. This is real time, it's changing, but everyone just know that that's green. Step 4, who's in control, the highs or the lows? What we do for this step is we take the high side of our anchor, these 2 red candles, we then move over till we hit what we call a wall. That's this red candle here, that's the body of a candle. It's not wicks, it's not the top of a candle, it's hitting the body of a candle. The first body of a candle it hits is this red one, right? So we hit a wall. You then go up until you get another color change again. That's going to be green going to red. We're going to go ahead and mark that. Green to red. So we have step 1, this was green, action candle. We ignore it. Color to the left, red, 2 red candles. That is our anchor. Mark the high and the low of our anchor. We then go to the left, step 3, to identify if it's sideways or engulfed. We have the 2 green candles to the left. Are the 2 green candles bigger than the 2 red candles? No, they are not. So it's not engulfing it. It's not sideways. We get to go to step 4. Step 4 is identifying who's in control, the highs or the lows. We take the high side of our anchor, go across till we hit the body of a candle. We hit this red body here. We then move up until we get a color change, meaning we hit a red candle, so we need to look for green to red. Here's where we have that happen. We mark it, we identify it. Okay, now we got to figure out the low side. We go to the low side, we go over to the left till we hit a wall. Boom, boom, boom. It's way back here. We can see here. It's way back there. It's we're not going to go back and look for it. Why? Because all we're doing on this step is trying to identify who's in control, the highs or the lows. Whatever side you hit first, whether it be the high side or the low side, you have to ask yourself what one of these happened more recently in time. What was the freshest one? What one happened most recently in time? And in this instance, it did here because we can see it here on the low side. It's way back here. We know that happened in time. That happened many hours before this one had happened. Okay, great. So step 4, highs and lows, identifying the control candle. The high side is hitting here first, most recent in regards to time. So you'll see here on the sheet, it says highs. We have what we would call a downtrend. Now we have to ask ourselves, step 5, do we have a setup? If you look on that sheet, if we're in a downtrend, we need to ask ourselves, it says downtrend with a blue action candle. Blue is also green. So downtrend, we need to ask ourselves. We go back. This is where we go back to the action candle that we started with that we ignored. When we started this process, this candle was green. So let's pretend it's still green. We ask ourselves, for a downtrend, we need a green action candle. Did we have a green action candle? Yes, we did. So if we had a green action candle, we then get to go to step 6. Do we have a level break? Oh, in this instance, yeah, if we had a red candle when it was in here, then we would say, no, it's sideways, or we skip it, we move on. But now we get to go to step 6, level break. Is there a level break? In reference to when there is a downtrend, our action candle, I know the sheet says cannot break low. Okay, is this one? No, this is a more updated one. It wasn't saving. But you'll see on your sheet, I think it says, what does it say? Downtrend cannot break higher highs. Just that should say downtrend cannot break high of anchor. So what does that mean? That means our action candle cannot break the high of our anchor. As long as, in that instance, it was green, it was right here. It had not broken the high of our anchor. In that instance, going through those steps 1 through 6, we now have what we call downtrend with a setup. That's great. We then get to go over to the right side of the chart. Then we go through those rules to identify a trade. We're going to get to that. I want to go through this a couple more times so my new people have this down. I know the ones that have already seen this probably understand it pretty well. So we're going to go through some more. I like how that just moved. Some more examples of this. And again, if anybody at any point, I don't know if anybody's typing anything in the chat for some reason, I always delete the chat box. And if someone's writing something there and I'm not seeing it, someone just speak up and let me know that there's a question or comment in there. But we will go ahead and go to another chart just to go through this a couple more times. Okay, here we go right here. So actually, does anybody want to try this one? Do I have any volunteers? I'll walk with it through you, but anybody? No, that's fine.
Here.
Yep. Sweet. All right, let's do it. So step 1, what is my action candle?
Your action candle is going to be the green one.
The green one, right? One green candle, yes. So we have step 1. What do? We identify our action candle and then we ignore it, yes?
Right. So then we identify the anchor candle. So the anchor candle would be the red one next to it.
Just the one red one?
It's going to be the 2 red ones next to it. It's going to be considered one candle.
Yep. Okay. And then we do what?
And then you identify if it's sideways by looking at the green next to it. And since it's not sideways because it's not being engulfed by it, right?
Correct. But always though too, you already understand it, so that's good. We mark the high and low of our anchor.
Right.
Mark high and low, so you get that, boom. We then, you said step 3, is the 2 green candles bigger than the 2 red? No, so we're not sideways. Okay, then what?
And then, so we're in step 3, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So you go to the next color, and if the next colors are bigger or not. So it's not engulfing.
Yep.
So now we're on step 4, and it's in control, and that's about the highs or the lows.
Yep.
So then you take the high side of the anchor, which is the right, take it to the left, and you go across it till you hit a body, and the body is red, and you have a color change, right? So that's your color change right there because it changed from green to red.
Well, yeah, you take the high of the anchor, you move across till you hit the wall, then you go up to look for the color change. We hit a red wall, we go up, a red wall and or body, we go up till we get green red, and that's right here above here. Yeah.
Okay, and then you go back
that.
to those, right? So that would be your what would you call that area?
That is just all that is. That's the color change above the anchor. It's not something that you'll really refer back to much outside of just identifying what it is right here for this particular step. It's just, it's the high side. That's where the high side, and that's where the color change is on the high side.
Okay, and then number 5 would be.
Well, hang on, real quick. Just before we do that, and you understand that that's very good. I just want to make sure everyone else is getting it too. We also take the low side of our anchor and we go across till we hit a wall, and that's way back here. So we don't have to worry about it. We got it. You always have to make sure you're marking the high side, and then you look for the low side. If the low side's not on the screen, then don't even worry about it.
I got you. So basically, if it's not happening nearby, then it's not something that it's not relevant to you.
Yes, because for this particular portion of this process, it's all identifying what one you're hitting first, the high side or the low side, where you're getting that color change either up above the anchor or where you're getting the color change down below the anchor. What one of those is happening most recently in time. Price is irrelevant. They could have two right here that one's a little bit closer in price. This one's right here in price. This one could be way down here. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's time. Whatever one happened most recently in time. So you have the high side, then we would take the low side way back here. We can't see it, so we know in time, because these are hour candles. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours ago. This is where this happened. Down below, it's more than 5 hours, at least 5 hours or more, and really it's like 20 hours or more.
Right.
So we have that identified. So then, then you get to go to step 5.
So step 5 is, do we have a setup?
Yep.
So I didn't understand that part clearly.
Okay.
I understood, I didn't understand that part clearly. Okay.
So once we've gone through these steps, as you did beautifully, green action candle, 2 red anchor candle, high, low. Is it engulfed? Step 3, the green bigger than the red? No. Take the high, step 4, who's in control? Take the high side, move over until we hit a wall, go up till we get a color change. Low side, where do we hit a wall? Way back here, we don't care. Step 5, setup. Do we have a setup? So step 4. So you saw how we hit the high side first, yeah?
Right.
So you see on step 4 where it says highs. If you're hitting the highs on your sheet, it says highs. If you're hitting the highs, you have a downtrend.
Okay.
So that's what if you hit the low side, you would have an uptrend. If you were hitting the high side, you have a downtrend. So we've identified that we have a downtrend. We now get to go to step 5 for, is there a setup? On the sheet, you see it. It says for a downtrend, you need to have a blue/green anchor candle.
So how would you know?
I'm sorry, action candle.
So right, how would you know if it's a high? Because it's green, that candle that you circled is green?
No, okay. So this whole process, this whole left side of the chart is to identify, basically what it's doing is identifying what the trend is. Is it an uptrend and or a downtrend? And then the whole thing with the anchor, that's identifying what our playing field is for where we're going to look for a trade once we go to the right side. So an instance to this particular example, we hit the high side first for step 4. Step 4 says high/low control candle. We're trying to identify who's in control right now. Most recently in time, what one of these were we getting a color change? The high side or the low side? It's the high side. So what does that mean? That means that price was up here. It's moving. It's working its way down. See how price is coming here, basing out, dropping. Coming here, basing out, dropping. Coming here, the hopes is once we're following these steps, this is downtrend with the setup. We're looking to identify a trade here within our anchor because it's a downtrend. Price has been moving down. Drop, base, drop, base, drop. Hopefully this is our base. We're grabbing something in here and then continuing to drop. So it's a downtrend. That's what identifying this is. If this happened first, it's a downtrend. If it happened on the low side, it would be an uptrend, and we'd be looking to take it long. This would be inverse. These would be green, and then we'd have a red coming. We'd have a red coming down at the green, looking for an area to short. But right now we have the downtrend portion, the control. Who's in control right now? The sellers are in control. It's a downtrend. So when we have a downtrend, we have to ask ourselves, do we have a setup? In order to have a setup, when steps 1 through 4 identify that we have a downtrend, we have to go back to our action candle, this first candle that we ignored. That color has to be green and or blue. It's the same thing. So in this instance, we have green, yes?
Right, so it's a downtrend.
So, well, we identified it's a downtrend off of step 4 for who's in control. Who's in control told us we had a downtrend. Step 5 is telling us, do we have a setup or not?
Okay, so it has to have the blue or green candle in order to have the setup.
Yeah, this has to be green in order for there to be a setup. And if there's a setup, then we get to go to step 6. If this happened to not be green, it was red somehow, and it can happen. Then oh no, that's sideways. It's red. We move on. We skip it. And we go to the next one. Mm-hmm. But all this is doing is just identifying what our playing field is with our anchor. Is our anchor okay? Is our anchor engulfed? No. Okay. Who's in control? The highs are in control. The sellers are in control. So we have a downtrend. If we have a downtrend, we've identified that with steps 1 through 4. Now, step 5, do we have a setup? We have to ask ourselves, what color is our action? Blue/green. We have blue/green. Yes. Okay. We have a setup. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Then we go to step 6. Step 6, we go through all those steps, and then we have to ask ourselves, though, do we have a level break? What does that mean? Or an anchor break? If you look at your list, and the list is a little bit confusing, but if it's a downtrend, cannot break the high of the anchor. So what does that mean? That means our action candle cannot break the high of our anchor.
Okay, because then the trend would change, right?
Yes, see, there you go. See, because if this action candle breaks the high of our anchor and closes, we are now starting to form, potentially, now it's sideways biased up is what that becomes. We had a downtrend with the setup, but as soon as this green candle trades above here and closes, we are now, because we had a red anchor that's part of our downtrend, but as soon as we get a green close up above it, it's now sideways biased up. Once we get a red candle coming in and a close and then another green candle, we are then uptrend with the setup.
Because it engulfed the red, right?
Yeah, because there'll be engulfing, there'll be anchor breaks, there's all types of stuff. So you'll see here, like here on the left over here, you see how we basically, right now, we basically have this more or less going on right now. You see how that is? Two red candles. We have a green anchor, 2 red, smaller green, right? You see this that we just went through? But then over here, if we go back in time, is that not the same thing? We have currently we have a green action candle. We have the anchor, high and low, our anchor, right? It's not engulfed. We have 2 greens next to it, not engulfing. We then take the high of our anchor, go across till we hit a wall. We come up here, we get a color change. Go ahead and mark that. Color change. We go to the low side, we go across, boom, boom, boom. It's way back here. What one happened most recently in time? We can't even see it over here, so we know the high side happened most recently in time. So step 4, that's who's in control. The sellers are in control, the highs are in control. Then we would go to step 5, do we have a setup? What color is our action candle? For downtrend, we need blue/green. We have blue/green, so that makes it downtrend with a setup. We have to ask ourselves, though, do we have a level break? Is this green action candle breaking the high of our anchor? No. So we would be downtrend with a setup. Then we get to go over to the right side to identify, break that down in smaller time frames, and we'll get to that coming up next. But see how this example was, but then once this candle, boom, you see the next candles that came, that would be step 6, level break. That would be the example of a level break on step 6. This green candle now violated the top of our anchor. That was our playing field to identify something. This candle violated it, closed above it. And then once that happened, that would be sideways biased up. If this red candle closes here, and then we were to get another green candle up above, as soon as we had red again, it would then officially be uptrend with the setup. The trend would have changed. Going through these same steps, then we would have been uptrend with the setup and looking to take it long. That didn't happen, though. Just right here, it closed. Really what it did was just grab this area up here and continue to shoot it down. And all this stuff, we have reasons. Once we're moving forward and as we're doing this, we literally will have reasons for once this candle closes above here, or we can break it down to a smaller time frame, that we have a set of rules to use, and using these colors and all this stuff that we're doing, and much more stuff we'll go over for why it's doing that, why we can take it and grab it to get to the top of this wall, and then what's going to send it back down. We literally can have rules and reasons to take it long from here to here for a quick 20 pips, why it's going down, and as it continues to move down, we get back to downtrend with the setup, downtrend with the setup, downtrend with the setup as it's continuing to move down and to take the trade even longer. So, I mean, as of this point, you could have grabbed this and we'd be down, we'd be up, up 67, almost 70 pips. And when we go through this further, all this will make sense and you'll understand exactly why, and playing with the time frames and using these rules with you the whole time for having rhymes and reasons to do all of these steps. But, yeah, does that make sense?
Yes, it definitely does make sense. I appreciate you explaining it. But the best time frame to do steps 1 through 6 would be the 1 hour?
No, I'm just using that as an example. You can literally, it's going to be a different picture on everything. Like I always have up 4 charts. Right now we have a daily, a 240, so 4-hour chart, 60-minute and 30-minute. I always have charts up. If you're looking to take more so longer time frame trades, you start on a higher time frame. Like right now, the daily, the daily is actually, it was as of this point before this red candle closed below here, we had red action, green anchor, mark the high and the low of our green anchor. We then go to the color to the left, red. Is it engulfing? No, the red's smaller than the green. Okay, so step 4, who's in control? Highs or lows? We take the high side till we go across. It's way back here. We can't see it. We take the low side. We go across till we hit a wall. That's right here, yeah? Mm-hmm. Then we go down till we get a color change. So there's our color change. Okay, so who's at this point, who's in control? The highs or the lows?
Lows.
Lows, right? Okay, so step 5, lows. So if the lows are in control, we have an uptrend. So step 5, if we have an uptrend, what color do we need our action candle to be?
Blue or green? No, wait, red.
There you go. For an uptrend, we need our action candle to be red. Why? Because the green is our anchor. The lows, the buyers are in control. The lows are in control. That means price is moving up. So we want a red action candle to come down somewhere in our anchor, our playing field, to identify a trade, to hopefully grab a piece inside the anchor and continue to move up.
So it's kind of like a retest.
Yeah, basically it's a retest. Okay. It's a retest. It's identifying. So again, this is all this doing here is identifying trend. What is the current trend? And if you're going to get different pictures across different time frames. So you have to learn how to, and you will, as you see this, you have to learn how to balance all of it. And as we move forward in this, I'll show you that a little bit more. But yeah, so here at this current time, step 5 for uptrend, we have a red action candle, right? So step 6, level break. Is there a level break?
No.
Nope. Right.
It's not breaking down the level. It's not breaking below the 2 lines we drew.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't draw lines on this one, but our mental lines, because we're on a daily chart, these lines are represented on the 60-minute because these transfer from chart to chart. But here on the, let's go ahead and mark it just for clarity.
The top and the bottom green, right?
Yeah, top and bottom right there. That's our anchor on the daily. Our action's not breaking the bottom of our anchor. So no, at that point, we are uptrend with a setup. Then we would go to the right side. But on this particular example, this happened, yeah. But then we got to close because it's the data. We got to close down below here. So as soon as we get a close down below here, it's no longer a uptrend because the action broke the low of our anchor. So let's walk through this one because this will make step 5 make more sense. So here we have what? 1, 2, 3 for our action candle. Let's make this a little bit bigger. For our action candle, we have what?
Red.
Red, right? 1, 2, 3, red. Okay. So then we go to step 2, identify our anchor still, color to the left, 3 green. We have 3 green, right? High and low of the 3 green. Right. That's our action, or I'm sorry, our anchor. We have the 3 red as our action. The 3 green is our anchor. We then look to the left. Is the 2 red bigger than our anchor?
No.
Nope. Okay. We have the high and low marked. Go a little bit more accurate. High and low marked. We then take the high side. We go across till we hit a wall. Way back here, we don't care. We take the low side. We go across till we hit a wall, right? We hit a wall here, yeah? We then go down for our color change. Boom, there's our color change. Okay. So who's in control, the highs or the lows?
Lows.
The lows. So the buyers are in control, the low side. So that's step 4. Lows are in control. If the lows are in control, is it what kind of trend?
It's a it's a uptrend. No, yeah, lows are in control, so it's an uptrend because it's pushing the market up from the bottom.
Boom, nailed it. Great job. Step 5 then, since we have an uptrend, what color do we need our action candle to be?
A red. And
red. What's our action?
Our action right now, currently?
Yeah. No, on this example here.
It was red before.
Yeah, it's red, right? This one's kind of flickering green and whatever. We'll just pretend that it's
red.
Yeah, it is red, but it's green right now, so we're just going to go with it's red. We'll get it out of the way. Still the same picture, right? Mm-hmm. So we have red action, right? Mm-hmm. So then we have, what would you call that? If we had uptrend with a red action candle.
That's a setup.
What's that?
That's a setup.
Yep, that's uptrend with a setup. That's
right.
what we're looking for. But right. Then we got to go to step 6. Step 6, we have to see if we have a level break.
And we did have a level break.
We did have a level break. So you skip it sideways. Well, now it's the bias. It's now changing. It's no longer an uptrend. It's now downtrend. Or it's sideways bias down is what that actually is called, because it's undetermined. Y'all start noticing these things happen in threes. Like here, this for an uptrend, we have green, red, green. Mm-hmm. They're all so for trend to change. We'll go over here. For trend to change, when we were downtrend with the setup. For trend to change, that's 2. I forgot we didn't have more candles here. Let's price. I want this to make a lot of sense. Let's see for another example. Okay. I don't want to confuse you guys, but this will start to make a lot of sense. I will go back here real quick. For this, at one point over here, it's a downtrend, or yeah, right here it's a downtrend, right? Yeah, we'll go with this. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. So right now, let's say this was going on right here, right?
Right.
Green action, red anchor, high and low of anchor. Take the high side of our anchor. Is it engulfed by the green? No, it's not. Take the high side of our anchor, move across till we hit a wall. Boom, up above here. Mm-hmm. Boom, that's that. We take the low side of our anchor. Boom, we go here till we hit a wall. We hit a wall right here, right? Mm-hmm. We got to go down, all the way down that wall till we get a color change. We get a color change right here. Boom, right? So in reference to this one, try to move a little bit.
Times?
What's that?
Did you just do it 2 times? Because you didn't highlight the yellow circle twice on the other ones.
Well, yeah, on the other ones, we were never seeing it on the screen. Remember?
Right. You're right.
So just to show that, like here, we'll go to the 60-minute. See on this one, when we're doing this example, any of these examples, this one, that was our action, ignore, anchor, not engulfed, high of the anchor, boom, hits a wall, color change up above right here, low side, where's it hit a wall? Way back here. All the examples we've done previously, it just, whatever side was the opposite, it didn't have one because it happened way further back in time. Mm-hmm. So I'm on this one now just to kind of, this will kind of bring it all together, and as we're moving forward, make some more of this make sense. Mm-hmm. So again here, action, green action, 2 green action, 1, 2, 3, 4 red candles for our anchor. Is it engulfed by the green to the left? No. Step 3, so it's not engulfed, it's not sideways. Step 4, who's in control? Take the high of our anchor, move across till we hit a wall, boom, move up till we get a color change. Right here, green to red, mark it. Low side, go across till we hit a wall, boom, right here. Go down till we get a color change, red to green, right here, mark it, boom. Okay, so who's in control right now? As this was happening in current time, who is in control?
The lows.
The lows?
Yes.
What one happened more recently? What color change happened more recently?
The red from the top.
Yeah, the top, right? Well, what one happened more recently in time? This happened at, this says June, we're on a daily. This is June 11th. This is May 26th. So in time, what one happened more recently?
The red.
The high side, June 11th. It was way more recent than May 26th. Mm-hmm. So highs then are in control. If the highs are in control, we have a what trend?
Downtrend.
Downtrend, boom. Okay. So step 5, do we have a setup though? If we have a downtrend, what color does our action need to be?
Green.
Green. Is it green?
Yes, it is.
Boom. Nailed it. Step 6, though. Do we have a level break?
The wick is coming out.
Yeah.
No, we
Back
don't.
to the very thing on the very top of the
Ignore
above
wicks.
step 1. Wicks, we ignore on this side for this at this current time for the left side, we always ignore wicks. Wicks don't matter. So
we don't have a level break.
So we do not have a level break.
So we have an uptrend with the setup.
We have an uptrend with the setup. No. We have an uptrend with the setup.
Downtrend.
Downtrend with the setup. Absolutely. We have a downtrend with the setup. Okay, so we have a downtrend with the setup. Boom. That's when we would go to the right side to identify a zone. And we'll get to that. We're coming up on that soon. One thing I want you to, although we ignore wicks right now, when you see this happening, when we're ignoring wicks, but if you see like this example, there is a wick that did trade up above. In this instance, I'm not saying you can't, but you be weary, be very cautious. Because although it didn't close up above, it's shown you that price did move up above. It didn't close.
It would have stop lossed you out if your stop loss was up there.
Well, if you were already in the trade, but you might be seeing this right here and still looking to identify a zone maybe right in here and taking it short, and it can very well work. But there is a stronger possibility of it not working because it violated the top of the anchor. It didn't close, but it violated the top of the anchor. But also on a smaller time frame, you probably did get a close above this anchor. For price to be doing this, you at least got a 1 minute close above here. You at least, because this is what is this? This is basically, that's 28 pips. So somewhere in here above this line, it traded 28 pips. So I guarantee you on a 1 minute, a 5 minute, 30 minute, an hour, a 3 hour, who knows, at least on a couple of those, you did get a close up above here. Mm-hmm. So although we're on the daily, you just have to be aware of how all these things work. Again, you still can do this. It still is following the rules. But anytime you do see a wick trading above here, just be cautious because there's more to the picture. But it's okay. So as this is happening, at this point, we are downtrend with a setup. We had a red drop down. We had a green retracement, if you will, basing, and then a red drop, right? Drop, basing, retracement, drop. Then here we have the green retracing in our anchor, our playing field, in hopes of it dropping back down. So it would be a drop, base, drop, hopefully base, drop again, continuing the downtrend.
So when it comes back to the top of the line, you would call it a base?
Say it again. So
when it comes closer to the top of that line you drew right there, you call it a base when it comes closer to that?
No. I'm just in this basing. We'll on step on the right side. We'll go over basing. What basing is? We're looking for boring candles and basing. I kind of for right now, just kind of if you can draw back this in your memory. Me just right here. Dropping, price is dropping, it's basing out, meaning it was going down, it stopped, it's kind of basing out, it's trading, it's kind of going up, it's kind of going down, it's figuring out what's going to happen next, and then continuing the drop would be a drop, base, drop.
Gotcha.
So here, drop, basing, it's not just going down, it's not just going up, it's kind of at a standstill figure. There's a fight happening right there. Right. It's the buyers versus the sellers. The sellers are saying, we want to keep sending it down. The buyers are saying, we want to send it up. Who's going to win? Whatever one wins, we'll send it in what direction it's going to go in. In this instance, drop, based, fought. There's a fight here between the buyers and sellers, based out, then it continued to drop, right? So, as that's going on, we have the retracement in here, continues to drop a bit, but it's still inside of here. Here's what I want to show you guys next, okay? So this was a downtrend with the setup. In between here is going to be changing between uptrend with the setup, downtrend with the setup, sideways bias up, sideways bias down. We'll get more into that stuff next, but I want to kind of go ahead and show you guys, like, as this has happened in real time, how this is changing. This is going on, okay, boom. Now, as of this point, we're now having red action, green anchor, highs and lows, up and up. This is, okay. Action, anchor, high side, low side. High side is hitting right here. You then have color change right here. Low side's hitting over here. You have color change over here, right? Still
Still in a downtrend.
Well, here's okay. This is cool. I like this example. So who's in control right now? Buyers or sellers?
Sellers.
Sellers, right? Okay, because this one happened more recently in time.
Mm-hmm.
So if the sellers are in control, we have a downtrend. Step 5, do we have a setup? What color do we need our action to be? If we have a downtrend, what color do we need our action to be?
It needs to be green. And
We need it to be green. What do we have?
We have red.
Red, right? So that's why I want to show you this, because we keep going through it. It's like, well, how does it ever red? This is how it's red.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had downtrend. We had downtrend with the setup.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, boom, boom. Then we started to get these closes. Once this happened right here, we actually have, this is actually now our action. This is our anchor. Actually, let's go ahead and do it. That's our action, right? This is our anchor, the 2 green.
Mm-hmm.
We then go to step 3. Is our green engulfed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right? Because these 4 red candles are bigger than our green candles.
Right.
So it'd be sideways. It'd be engulfed. We call that sideways. We skip it and we move on. Why? Because right now we're trying to figure out trend. That's what I'm saying. There's going to be 3 candles. There's going to be, I think, pretty much you have to have 5 to change trend. I think it's 5 color. And as we go through the example, I'll get the exact. It should be 5 candles. It needs to be 5 closes in order for trend to change.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, as of this point, we were downtrend with the setup. That was our action. All that we went through all the steps. You guys get it. Green action, red anchor, highs are in control, not engulfed. Green action, so downtrend with the setup, not violating the top, not breaking the top of our anchor, downtrend with the setup. Then we had our red closes. As this is happening, again, we just went through the example. Action, anchor's now engulfed. It's sideways. Why is it sideways? Because there's no longer the clear picture. You can't determine who's in control.
You don't know.
Buyers are the sellers.
Consolidating.
What's that?
It's basically consolidating, kind of.
It's basically consolidating, but even in here too, and yeah, absolutely, it's consolidating, but it's also possibly changing trends because it's not giving us a clear picture that we need. Because when this is happening, this still is hitting the high side here. So right here, it's sideways. We call that sideways step 3 because the anchor is being engulfed. That's giving us an indication. Since the anchor is engulfed, it's giving us an indication that yes, although it is downtrend, it's biased because that's engulfed, and then actually our action's the wrong color too. So the bias is down, but it's sideways. So it's sideways biased down. If it's sideways biased down, we don't have a clear picture of what's going on. Before here, we knew we were downtrend with the setup. Now we're sideways because step 3, you skip and move on. But this is more advanced. For right now, normally you just skip it, but you guys are pretty bright, so I think y'all are getting this. So now it's sideways biased. It's still biased down because the highs are still in control. It's still hitting here, but it's biased. So what ends up happening? Boom. We then go to, again, that'd be our same picture. Let's go to here. Sideways bias down, but then now as this is happening, we now have, let's call it right here. We were downtrend with the setup to sideways bias down to now we have red action, right? Green anchor, right?
Right. So high and low would be at the green, right?
High and low of the green. Take the high side, boom. Oh, is it engulfed?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So it's engulfed. We take the high side, hit a wall up here. So we'd skip it and move on. But high side here, low side here. See how much closer this is getting now? Normally we skip it, but we're gonna go ahead and go more advanced. So you see on this example, action, anchor's engulfed, so it's sideways. We skip it and move on. But let's go ahead and just move forward for example purposes. Boom, we hit a wall here. Here's where the color changes, right? Up above. Here's where the color changes down below. What one happened more recently?
The top one.
The top one. So it's still, the sellers are still in control, right? But we were step 3, we were sideways, we'd skip it, but we're moving forward. Sellers are in control, step 4. Step 5, do we have a setup?
No, because the action candle is...
Because the action candle's red. So it's still sideways, we'd move on. But I just want to show you to see how, like before, these were all, the high and low difference were so far away.
Right.
Because it was a clear, at this point, price was way moving up. Then we started to get these closes down below that changed it. When this big move was happening, it was uptrend with the setup and continuing the uptrend up. Then the downtrend started to happen and or retracement. Wink, wink, hint, hint. As that had happened, then we're starting to get this sideways bias down stuff happening. But you see the highs and lows are now, that gap is closing. It was way far out. We couldn't even see a lot of the times, and now it's right there. But again, these are probably about the same distance away. Let's go and measure it from about 75-ish pips to 70 pips almost. So it's super close in price. They're both about the same price distance away, but in time, what happened more recently, the high side. So it's sideways. It's still sideways biased down because the sellers are still in control. But as we continue to move forward, okay, now watch. We now have we're going down. So again, so this was downtrend. What were we just on? We were right. Yeah, we were right here. Boom. We got a green close. So we were biased, color changing close. That's one color, two color, three colors, four colors. We have a green, red, green. The green is now our action. We ignore. Red anchor.
Right.
Is the anchor engulfed?
Yes.
Yes. So it's sideways. We move on. But if we go ahead and mark the highs and lows, we take the high side, boom, we hit here, right? Go up. That's the high side. We go to the low side. We hit here, right? Low side hit the wall, we go down to the color change. What one happened more recently in time?
The low. The
lows. So that's an uptrend. In order for there to be an uptrend, what color does our action need to be?
Red. And we don't
red. What is it? Green. Okay, so it'd be side, but again, now over here we were sideways biased down still because it was in that sideways engulfed and or just sideways area, so we would skip it. But now you see as this is changing, we now are sideways biased up because it stopped the downtrend. Here's where the downtrend stopped. Started going up green, basing out. Once this had happened, that green anchor became engulfed. Stopped it sideways, still biased down, but now you see how this changes and as this moves forward, it's gone from downtrend with the setup to sideways biased down to now sideways biased up.
Basically, it depends on where your low is or where your high is. What's the most recent change in the color area?
Yeah, because it can't just go from downtrend with the setup to uptrend with the setup. There's a process. It needs to go down. That downtrend needs to stop. And then the rules start over, starting to move up. You're going to go from downtrend with the setup to sideways bias down to maybe sideways bias. It could go from downtrend with the setup to sideways bias down to uptrend or sideways biased up to, as we go, let's take another candle. Okay, one more candle over. Red action, green anchor, high side, low side. High side goes across till we hit a wall that's right there. We go up, there's our color change. Low side goes over till we hit a wall, go down, there's our color change. See, we didn't have to draw it. It's using the same ones, but it's in this sideways pattern. But in this sideways pattern, the trend is starting to change. So we went from downtrend with the setup to sideways biased down to sideways biased up to now we have what? Red action, green anchor. Is it engulfed? No. High side across till we hit a wall, boom, up here. Low side till we hit a wall down here. Who's in control, the highs or the lows?
The lows.
The lows, right? If the lows are in control, we have a what trend?
Uptrend with a red action candle.
So yeah, we have an uptrend. Step 5, what color is our action? Red. We have an uptrend with the setup. Step 6, do we have a level break?
Well, no.
Nope. Why? Because the red action, is it breaking the low of our anchor?
No,
is it closed below our anchor? Nope, it has not. So we now have officially uptrend with the setup. We are downtrend with the setup to sideways biased down to sideways biased up to up with a setup. It can never go downtrend with the setup to uptrend. There's a process. It has to base out. It has to go from downtrend with the setup to sideways biased down to sideways biased up to up with a setup. And it might do this several times more. It might still do that sideways back and forth, who's in control. But eventually, somebody's going to come out on control, the sellers or the buyers. Eventually, it's going to be back to downtrend with the setup or uptrend with the setup. In this instance, we just got the change to uptrend with the setup. And then, boom, look at that. There we go, right? Now very clearly, now we have, again, boom, green action or red action, green anchor, mark the high and low of our anchor. Boom, high side over here. This is even, so we go till we hit a wall. Still right here. Low side till we hit a wall. That's right there. We'll go ahead and draw the new one. New one is right here. Low side, hit a wall down here. Who's in control? The highs or the lows?
Lows.
Lows are in control. That's a what trend?
Uptrend. With
Uptrend.
A candle.
With a red action candle. Step 5, what colors are action? Red. Step 6, is it breaking the low of our anchor?
It is not.
It is not. So we are uptrend with the setup. Boom. That's when we go to right side, identify a zone. We're going to identify something in here to give us a reason to send it up. And boom, price goes up. Continuing uptrend with the setup, action, anchor, not engulfed, lows in control, red action, not breaking the low of the anchor, grabbing something in here. And this one a little bit lower, but you see it still continuing up, green, red, green. And when you see anytime wherever price is at, when you get green, red, green, that's starting an uptrend. That's we're closing above this anchor with a green. We just violated that anchor, closed above that. We said that anchor is no good anymore. Now there's a green close above that anchor. Whatever you were before, we don't even care, but it already was up. It's just continuing the uptrend. Little red, little fight back, little pullback. Continue closing green, violating that anchor again, but to the upside, continuing our uptrend. Then again, green, red, green, green, red, green, continuing up, green, red, pullback, green, continuing up, retracement. This is something that we went through. No, that was, see here, wicks. As we start to get into wicks on the right side, we love wicks. We're always looking for wicks, a wick alongside a wall, see how price came here and matched this wick, basically grabbed this wick and continued up. Gave us a nice little 208 pip move. As we go forward and get to the right side, you'll understand why we do all of this to then go to the right side to identify, once we're identifying our playing field, downtrend with the setup, uptrend with the setup. And then when it's sideways, we know how it's working, to when it's changing to then uptrend with the setup from the downtrend with the setup, to be able to identify zones within those parameters and playing fields within our anchor, to use these rules to follow every time, to be trading within the trend, to continue the move up and or down, whatever way that it's going. So green, red, green, green, red, green, until we get a close below. It's got a close below that there's no longer, the uptrend has now been stopped. This was literally an uptrend since right here. Green, red, green. As soon as we had this one, as soon as we got this close above, because again, this was sideways, biased down, sideways, biased up, with this green close above here, and as soon as we got that red action, that now turned us into uptrend with the setup, because action, anchor, high, low, not engulfed, lows in control, high sides over here, lows in control. We have the red action, so uptrend with the setup, not breaking the low of our anchor, uptrend with the setup with no level break. That's when we get to go to the right side and identify zones. And within inside of that, once we did that, we had uptrend with the setup from right here, and that went all the way. As you see, it continued green, red, green, green, red, green. That's uptrend with the setup, green. That's uptrend with the setup. Continuing here, green, red, green. Continuing up, uptrend with the setup, uptrend with the setup, uptrend with the setup, uptrend with the setup, and then stopped over here. That is the overall move was, with uptrend with the setup, almost 700 pips. So just honestly, there's a whole, this is just meat and potato. There's appetizers and desserts and stuff too. And that's more advanced. And as we continue these sessions, we're going to get into all this stuff, I promise y'all. But even without being able to even go to the right side of the charts and identify zones, we can just be taking breakouts based upon understanding this. But here on the daily, we're just taking the daily uptrend with the setup, continuing green, red, green. Okay, get in the trade. Right here, when we were uptrend with the setup, and we got one more close above, or even right here, when we violated that anchor, that red, when we violated this red anchor and got this close above here, that is an anchor break to the upside. So you could have just taken a market order here, boom. had a stop somewhere down below here, however you wanted to do that. It's risky. It's risky and very, very, very aggressive. And like I said, this is much more advanced. We're just kind of giving y'all, don't start doing this yet because there's a lot more you need to understand to really do this properly. And you can do it on a lot of different time frames. But we could have just been taking green, red, greens, moving it all the way up and could have grabbed 700 pips. And there's something called add-ons. And as we're continuing to get more green, red, greens and green, red, greens, if I get a green close above my anchor, I'm violating that, because once this becomes, this was our anchor, that was action. We get the close above, continuing, that was the anchor. We're breaking it to the upside, but in our favor, it's continuing to move up. We could have added on. Red, close above, add on. Boom. Green, red, green, close above, add on. Boom. All the way up here, red close, oops, green, add on. So and we'll get into that stuff later. This is super advanced stuff. So please, y'all don't start doing this yet, because I want you to understand a lot more before we get into this. Like, actually, guys, I'm giving you guys little snippets. But this almost 700 pip move, that would have been at that point, if we started here with add-ons, boom, right there. That would have been another 650 pips. Then we would have got our next one here, would have been another 578, another 498, another 140. And as you're doing that, you're moving your stop up alongside it. Move your stop here. Move your stop here. So not only are you locking in profits, you're also adding to your position size and taking it up and or down, whatever way it's going. In this instance is for a 700 pip. Let's see. So that's rough math. 700, another 700. So that's 1,400. I think it was like another 600. So that's 2,000, another, say 500, 2,500, and then another 150. So that's 2,650, 2,650 pips. Instead of just the 700 doing the strategy while locking in profit and moving in your profit and your stop up all the way alongside. And again, there's a set of rules to do all this stuff. But that's why this trading style and strategy is so powerful, because we can turn a 700 pip trade into 2,600 pips. And this was what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 21, 22, basically over 22 days. So 22 days, one trade, 2,600 pips. It's not bad. So any questions? Y'all like this? Does this sound cool, or is it
Can I ask
you
a question?
don't like it? Yeah.
When are you going to be teaching this again?
Sometime in the week. I am, but we're going to be doing this at least twice a week.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I know this will be recorded. This is recorded. This will be in our Discord group as well.
Awesome.
But there's a whole, this thing is so simple once you get it, but there's a whole, it's so incredibly complex, but so simple.
Right now,
Hey, Mike,
I wanted to make sure we were going to get your value provided, like more than just today. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, for sure. So there's already a session in our Discord group. Honestly, this one's, I hadn't taught in a couple of years, so I was a little bit rusty on that last one, the saying things backwards and stuff. But yeah, as we get this, we're really going to dive into some stuff. And as of now, we're doing this at least twice a week. And I might even do a third depending upon how it's going, and maybe just a straight beginner one and more advanced stuff later for the other ones. But we'll figure all that out. At least twice a week. Mondays at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's this one's already every week at Monday. This one's going to be going on. And then me and Edwin are going to discuss when we're doing the second one. We might do like, I'm thinking right now, maybe a Thursday morning in the market, or maybe at nighttime too, just things are a little bit slower. But we might do one like live, like in good trading hours too, just to do this on smaller time frames. Because we can do this on the daily, we can do this on the 5 minute, we can do this on the 1 minute, we can do this on the 33 hour, 4 hour. It really doesn't matter. This works across all time frames. So with that, because we were asking before earlier about the hour and then the daily and whatnot. So while all this kind of stuff was going, and even on the daily, we broke our anchor, and we're now showing it's sideways biased up, but we have an anchor break to the downside on the daily. But here on, and I don't know where these blue lines came from. So I didn't draw those. That came from somewhere. I don't know if that was you, Edwin, or not. But
no, that was probably someone else by mistake.
Yeah, I don't even know how. I saw this like starting to draw. I wasn't touching anything, and there's like blue lines happening. But see here on the 30-minute right now. See, this was so the daily was up with the setup basically more recently. Now we're starting to show it's sideways bias up still, but we have the anchor break to the downside. So it looks like it could be forming a downtrend, but we don't know yet because we still need to, it's bias. We need it to either go from bias either up or down to downtrend with the setup or uptrend. We don't know as of right now. But here on, we'll just call it the 30-minute, before this close above, we'll get rid of that big one. Green action. We had the green action. We had the red anchor, right? High, low. Highs hit. We hit a wall here. Why is this? This looks weird. Hang on. Let me fix this. There we go. Oh, well. Green action, ignore. Red anchor, high, low side. Low side, is it engulfed? Actually, is it engulfed by the green? This one green? No. Low side, way back here. We don't, oh, here's an example. Okay, here's an example where it's way back here, but yeah, it hits all the way back here, right? That's, you know, August 4th compared to on the high side, we hit right here, go up to the color change right there. That's August 10th. So that's 6 days more recent. Okay, it was, and what was our action? So we had, I'm sorry, sellers were in control, downtrend with the setup because we had green action. Is it breaking the level, the high of our anchor? No. So we were downtrend with the setup. But then boom, we got the close above. We got the close above. Now we have the close above. So now we're no longer, so now this is our action, the green. Red anchor, high side. Just go ahead and draw it. Low side. There we go. That's what I was looking for. High side, low side, way back here, don't care. High side till we right here, we hit a wall, we go up. Go ahead and draw it just to draw it. There's our color change. Okay, so what would happen more recently? Highs. So highs are, if a high happened more recently, who's in control? Buyers or sellers? Sellers. Yep, sellers. Sellers are in control. What color does our action need to be? Green, right? We have green. Step 6, is there a level break? Yes.
Yes.
Breaking the high of our anchor. Okay. So this is the 30 minutes. So it's breaking. So it was downtrend with the setup, but we have the anchor break. So that really puts it into the anchor break and or sideways category because it's sideways because we don't know what's happening. The rules all set up, but then we got the anchor break, so it's sideways. Well, let's just take a look at this on 15 minutes. 15 minutes, same thing. Let's go ahead and check it out on the 5 minutes. Okay, so here on the 5 minutes, while all this was going on, first off, you'll just start to see when we had, in here, we had the red action, right? Green anchor, high, low, low, all the way across till we can't see, don't care. High side here till we hit a wall, go up. There's our color change. There's our color change, low side, way back here, don't care, okay. Oh yeah, sorry. Who was it engulfed? No, step 3. You get to a certain, like honestly, I can look at this. I can do step 1 through 6 on pretty much any pair in less than a second, half a second. Just look at it and up with the setup, down with the setup, sideways bias up, sideways bias down. So whatever you can, and y'all will get this too. It's repetitive. It's repetitive. It's repetitive.
Repetition, and you've been doing it so many times that it's working.
Yeah. And saying like step 3, is it engulfed? Like I see that so clearly. Like I don't even think that's honestly, that's so, it's not subconscious. I'm not even thinking. That's just an automatic. But yeah, you always got to make sure that it's not engulfed. But so action, anchor, not engulfed. Sellers are in control. So downtrend. Do we have a setup though? What color does our action need to be?
Green or
for
blue?
A downtrend? Green. We have red. So it's sideways. You skip it, move on. But also, it would be a downtrend, but it's sideways. So that's what gives you an indication. Okay, well, it was downtrend before, but now it's sideways. So it could be turning into an uptrend. We need to see that. What happens next? Boom. I get a green action. So now I have green action, red anchor. Red anchor is engulfed though, right? Y'all see?
Yes.
How the two green are bigger than the red. Our new anchor. Let's mark that. Our new anchor. It's engulfed by the green. But let's go ahead and see what's going on though. Let's figure out who's in control though, either way, even though it's sideways. Low side hits right here, right? Hit a wall down. High side hits right here, right? Across, hit a wall, go up, color change. Low side hits a wall, color change. What one happened more recently?
The low.
The low. So if the low happened more recently, then who's in control?
The buyers.
The buyers. So if the buyers are in control, we have an uptrend. Step 5, though, to have an uptrend, what color does our action need to be?
Red.
Red. What do we have?
Green.
Green. Okay. So yes, it's sideways, but the buyers are in control, but we have a green action when we need a red action. So since the buyers are in control, though, the bias on it is uptrend. We don't have it confirmed because it's violating some of the other rules, but the bias on it is up because what one happened more recently? The buyers. Price was moving down right here. Right once this is red and this starts to go green, that's downtrend with the setup, downtrend with the setup. And then all of a sudden it's sideways bias down because back when the sellers were in control before we moved it, so downtrend with the setup. Now we were uptrend, but we didn't have the right action candle. But guess what? It went from the sellers being in control more recently to the buyers being in control. So our bias changes to sideways biased up. As that's continuing to happen, boom, here's where the beauty is. Because it went from downtrend with the setup to sideways biased down, again to sideways biased up, to now we have red action. Oops.
Green anchor.
Green anchor. Is it engulfed? No. Go across till we hit a wall on the high side up here. Low side till we hit a wall down here. So who's in control? The sellers or the buyers?
Buyers.
The buyers. If the buyers are in control, what color does our action need to be?
Red.
What color is our action?
Red.
Boom. So we are, what would we call that?
Uptrend with a
sideways bias?
No, uptrend with a step 5. When we go back to step 5 to determine what the action candle is, what does that say at the very top? Setup.
Oh, I see.
Uptrend with the red setup.
Uptrend. You don't even need to say the red setup. If it's an uptrend, we already know that if it's an uptrend, we need to have a red action candle in order for there to be a setup. So if we have a red action candle, it then becomes uptrend with a setup. Because step 4, we identified the trend, who was in control, the buyers or the sellers. The buyers are in control, so that's an uptrend. Step 5, though, do we have a setup? In order for there to be a setup, we need a red action. We have a red action, so now you refer to this as uptrend with a setup. So we have that, and then we go to step 6. Is there a level break? Is our action breaking the low of our anchor?
No.
No, it's not. So boom, we have uptrend with a setup. We could then go to identify a zone somewhere in here, perhaps on the 5-minute, in hopes of taking, oh, look at that. Look how it did that. Now we're uptrend with the setup and then continuing our upward move. This is, as of this point, that would be our action. That'd be our anchor. Our anchor's engulfed, right?
Yeah.
So it would be, okay, sideways, move on. But okay, but who's in control? Boom, go down till we hit here. That would be the low side, color change here. High side, still over here. Who won't happen more recently? Low side. Buyers are in control. What color does our action need to be? Red. It's not red. So it would be sideways. But yes, it is sideways. But guess what? The bias is up because the buyers are in control. That happened more recently. But we like this because we want uptrend. We either want it, if we took it long right here when it was uptrend with the setup, we want it to either be continue uptrend with the setup or sideways biased up or just flat out up. We want price to be going up. We don't care. I mean, yeah, it's got to retrace, but we want price to keep going up. And what's it doing right now? Keep on moving up. And then again, boom, basing. See again here. Remember, as I say this, green, red, green, green, red, green, boom, close above the anchor, boom, market order, super aggressive, market order, long, move your stop up to, I'd move it to here, green, red, green, boom, add on, actually don't add it on yet, again, there's a set of rules, I don't want you guys to do this yet, but if this meets the other rules that we'll identify later on, boom, add on, move stop up, green, red, still up when it's red, still up with the setup, still up with the setup, sideways biased up with the setup, sideways biased up, sideways biased up. But, oh, see in this next candle right here, sideways biased up, this opened here and closed right there. But guess what? It went down a little bit. At one point, that candle, for a brief moment, that candle was red. This is a live candle, actually. This candle was red. Because when it opened from here to get down, it had to go, it closed here, it opened here. It had to go red to get, at least grab that little piece. So went from sideways bias up to very quickly up with the setup and continuing up. Why is this important? So we were on the, we'll go ahead and move this to 30-minute. So back when this was 30-minute, this was our action. Back when we were looking at it, it was kind of more so, yeah, it was kind of like this, I want to say, because 30-minute, I don't even know what time it is right now. This was our action, green, 4 red anchors, 4 red candles for our anchor. High side, is it engulfed? No. High side till we hit a wall, boom, right there. Mark the high. Low side till we hit a wall, way back here, we don't care. Okay, who is in control? In this particular one, at this time, who's in control? I'll tell you, the sellers were in control because the high side was hitting first. So that would be a downtrend. What color? Step 5. Do we have a setup though? Do we have a setup? What colors are action? Green. So we have a downtrend with a setup. Step 6 though. Is there a level break?
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry, I'm giving y'all super advanced stuff right now, but we're here, so let's keep doing it. Is there a level break?
Yes,
yes,
level break.
There is a level break. So because there's a level break, there's a close above, boom. It is now, it's sideways biased. It's sideways biased down, but then as soon as we got that level break though, so we know there's potential of it changing. And now as soon as this happens, high side, low side, anchor. Sellers are still sideways biased up, okay? But guess what? Here's the cool part. So we got this close up above here, right? We can then go down to, once that had happened, that's what was that price point? 17449. We then go to our 5 minutes. Knowing that on our 30-minute and or hour, whatever we're looking at, that we were downtrend with the setup, it became sideways biased down, but then we got a close breaking and closing above our anchor. Again, it's sideways biased down, but I'm also seeing that my anchor's been violated and I have a close above here on a higher time frame. Higher time frame always takes precedence because there's more money behind it, there's more momentum, there's more power behind it. So I got a 30-minute close up above. Cool. If I want to get, well, if I want to have fun with it, what was that again? That price that was 1.449 roughly. So where is that on here? 144. Okay, that's right here. So just going off of, there's 2 ways to look at it. You identifying that it's sideways biased down sooner and seeing what's happening on the 5 minute and the 5 minutes closing above, breaking the anchor above, closing above, closing above. I can be super aggressive and take a market order, continuing to take that up. Or here on the, oh yeah, here's that line right there. This line right here, this is the anchor break line. We're going to go ahead and change that to blue on a smaller time frame. Anything less than a 4-hour or 3-hour, I mark an anchor break line as blue. And then on a higher time frame, I'll mark it as a type of green. But you see here, this is basically, this represents the top of the anchor on the 30-minute and basically hour, I want to say it was too. So here, let's use it on the 5 minute though. On the 5 minutes, I got to close I had a green, red. I had this green, red, green going from here. So I could have already been super aggressive in it. But as this is happening, green, red, green, green, red, green, with a close above the 30-minute anchor, even on a 5-minute, boom, market order. Or wait for a retracement. A lot of times it'll retrace back to here. But market order, boom. And then watch this, because that was at this point, oops. Oh, there we go. As soon as we got the close above, we then had a red action. So red action, green anchor, high, low, not engulfed. Lows are in control. Highs way back here, don't care what color we need our action to be if the lows are in control. If it's an uptrend, we need a red action. Is it breaking the low of the anchor? No, we are uptrend with a setup without a level break. So not only did we get a green, red, green, green, red, green, continuing the uptrend up on the 5-minute with a close above the 30-minute candle anchor, continuing an uptrend with a setup on the 5-minute. Yes, it's a 5-minute and it's a smaller time frame and it's not as powerful. But on the 30-minute, when it became sideways bias down, and then I got to close above it, on the 30-minute. It was sideways bias down with a close above, became sideways bias down, closing above. That says, hey, wait a minute. It was down, it was sideways. Now I got to close above that anchor. There's a strong possibility this is going to go ahead and start moving up. We go down to a 5-minute. We're seeing what's happening on the 5 minutes moving up. Then we got our 5-minute close above. That could have been enough for you right there saying, hey, I know what a uptrend or what a downtrend being violated, starting an uptrend looks like, and breaking an anchor on a 5-minute. That's what just happened here. It then became uptrend with the setup even on the 5-minute. Probably is, let's go out on a limb right now. Let's see. I can't say if there is or isn't, but there very well might be on the 1 minute. There might be what we love to look for. And let's see if there is. Yep. So when that had closed, and this will be right side stuff. When this had closed, there was this wick here. We have this wick on wick overlap with that little wick. I know the cursor keeps getting in the middle. Let's make this bigger. There was this single wick alongside the wall here. Price. And this close, price came back down here on the 1 minute, grabbed, see how it evenly matched that wick, grabbed that and continued to move up. We know, y'all are going to know too why it does that and be able to identify that. It's really cool stuff. But let's just go back to the 5 minute real quick. So that was up with a setup. On the 1 minute, we would have seen that wick there. So you could have either taken, as soon as this closed, you could have taken, boom, market order. I got to close above, green, red, green, green, base, green, green, basing, green, moving up, close above, boom, market order, super aggressive. Could have waited for a retracement. There was that wick alongside there on the 1 minute we could have seen. So we could have just had an order there to minimize risk. So we only would have had, actually on that instance, and again, that's the right side stuff and we'll get into it later. That would have been that's a one pip zone right there. Could have had a stop down below here. Really what I would have done though, taking this move, probably would have had a stop below here with this pattern moving up. And you understand what that stuff means as we move forward. Those of you who have seen this before, is this not a strong move in? For those of you who have seen this before, is this not a strong move in with basing and then a strong move out? Strong move in, 1, 2, 3 basing candles with a strong move out.
Yes.
Yep, right. So y'all remember that from last time, or if you've seen the recording. Back to the 5 minutes, uptrend with the setup, boom. Close above again, another reason to get in on the 5 minute, and it's continuing to move up. So off that little piece right there, I mean, this is not big moves right now, but this is 6 pips. This is 9 pips above. We could have gotten 6 pips off of this right here, 6 pips for a 1 pip zone. You'll saw it on the 1 minute, but this is kind of a combination of left side with some right side stuff with some way advanced stuff past that. See, and this is happening right now. We have this little battle going on. If we get a green close above here, it's just continuing here on a 5 minute. No, if we would have grabbed it from down here, we're already, say on this one here, we're already 22 pips up. 22 pips that we could have grabbed, calling that close there with a stop somewhere down below here. We'll call it even 8 pips. 22 pips for that little 8 pips here, but really we're hoping and anticipating that's going to keep moving up. What we're seeing on the 5 minute is green, red, green, green, red, green, green, red, green. See how this isn't, there's no sideways bias down at this point. This is green, red, green. This is uptrend with the setup or sideways bias up or just flat up, continuing to move its way up. And now this has done this again from the point we would have really wanted to do it, 20 pips, 22 pips, whatever it was. So very cool stuff. And as this does this and closes above here, it's just continuing the uptrend. But then back here to the 30 minute, okay, we have the close above here. We have this one playing around. Let's see what does a 15 minute give us? Nothing yet. This is going to close in 2 minutes and 12 seconds. So when that happens, if that goes red, and let's just, you want it to keep going green, but sometimes they give you another, to be able to follow the rules, to have uptrend with the setup. If this closes red in the next 2 minutes, and then if this stays red and closes right here, and then the next 15-minute candle closes green, and then we get red again, guess what? You're uptrend with the setup on the 15-minute. So you're using a time frame, using the rules, so you're not breaking, you're not sideways biased, you're not whatever. You're using the rules. The chart's about massaging the charts. Because hey, I want to uptrend with the setup on the 30-minute, but I don't have it yet. I have an anchor break. I have a sideways bias down with an anchor break to the upside on the 30-minute. I have up with the setup on the 5-minute, but hey, I'm trying to get it on a little bit higher time frame. 15-minute, we'll see here in the next minute and 18 seconds if we start to get that. Then once you do, if you're not in yet, you can go back to the left side to have your uptrend with the setup. And then once you've identified that, you get to go to the right side and break down those rules to look and identify a zone. And if you want to just be a flat out breakout trader, when we get deeper into that, I'll teach you guys like the real way to do it. There's a specific process. You can just do it, but you're kind of going out like a cowboy, just going for it, whatever. Like there's a lot better way. There's ways to do it and have rules. There's a set of rules to follow to breakout trade and to have add-ons and to move your stops and all. I have stuff for all of this. But yeah, this making sense to everyone? Y'all?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, y'all like this?
For sure, 100%.
Sweet. So here, let's just see what happens here. We got 23 seconds. Let's watch this 5-minute candle here. We got 20 seconds till the close. 20 seconds till the close. Hopefully we get a close above here, and that's just continuing the uptrend. You see here how we have these wicks here. Kind of basically came here to grab that. Here, let's see on the minute real quick. Yeah, you don't see it on the minute, but it's all good. It's not always crystal clear, but it gets pretty clear. See, we didn't get it. Okay, see, this is the first time. This is the first time since this whole pattern started happening that we didn't get a green candle close above our red. Y'all see here, as soon as we were sideways biased down on the 30-minute and we came to it, so that gave us an indication we were sideways biased down on the 30-minute. Hey, let's check out the 5-minute. What's going on in the 5-minute? Even here on the 5-minute. Sideways, this is downtrend with the setup, downtrend with the setup, down. Here you got an indication here when it closed above this, but like, okay, it went downtrend with the setup, downtrend with the setup, downtrend with the setup to downtrend with the setup with an anchor break. Okay, but then boom, it just continued down. And as soon as that closed, that was green, still downtrend with the setup, still downtrend with the setup, still downtrend with the setup. But then all of a sudden, boom, we have this happen. And now we went from downtrend with the setup to sideways bias down to up with the setup on the 5-minute. Green, red retracement, green close above, green, red retracement, green close above, green, red retracement, green close above, red retracement, green close above. Since this happened down here, y'all see how we haven't had one green candle not close. Anytime there was a red, we got a green close above, right? Y'all see that moving all the way up?
Yes.
Until right here. This is a trend reversal or a potential because it didn't close here. This was up with a setup. Then as soon as that happened, we now have our action, our anchor's engulfed. Lows are still in control. Lows are in control, but it's engulfed, and lows are in control. We need a red action, or action's green, so we don't have that either. So it's still sideways, but the bias is still up. But that's our first indication that, hey, hold up. We were solid up sideways biased up, or really we were up with the setup this whole move up. As soon as I didn't get a close above here, whoa, hit the brakes. What's going on here? Oh, look at that. Then we got we're red down below here. So if this closes red, this will now change from, and see the wicks, those of y'all have seen wicks. You see how these wicks here, this wick right here, this is the, what do you call it? Either the one wick alongside a wall, or this is also the, what's the word I'm looking for? Exception with these two. It now came down below here. It's cleared. This body has cleared through these wicks. These wicks are gone. These wicks, there's nothing here anymore. It's already went through. See how it's moving down? So when this red candle happened and got below here, that's our action. That's our anchor. Our anchor's engulfed. We take the high of our anchor is here, go up till we get color change. We get color change. We get color change right here. On the low side, we go till we hit a wall. We hit a wall here. We go down here. That's where our color change is, because the buyers have been in control this whole move, right? So naturally, yeah, way down here. What one happened more recently in time?
The high.
The highs, the sellers. So the sellers happened more recently in time. So that is now, it's engulfed, so it's sideways, but who's in control right now?
Sellers.
Sellers. So it's sideways biased down. It went from up with the setup, up with the setup, up with the setup. As soon as we didn't get a close above, that's if I'm watching this real time and doing add-ons, because again, we could have done add-ons on all this the whole way up. We could be up 50, 60 pips right now on this little 20 pip move that's happened at what time is it? Like 9, 10 o'clock, where there's really not even any movement going on, but understanding how this works, we can just grab 60 pips out of here. But as soon as we saw that green, entry, add-on, 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 moving your stop up, moving your stop up. As soon as we didn't get the green close above, oh, wait, hold up. It's now sideways bias down. Well, not yet. Now it's sideways bias down. So it's like, hold up. So either I'm going to have my stop right here and lock in all that profit. Yeah, I just went through it. It just got us out. But guess what? We just grabbed, if we were doing add-ons and all that stuff, actually, we do a little bit more. We got in here off this first one, that was 20 pips plus 15, so we're at 35, close above, 35, 45 with the close above, wouldn't have been until right there. So 35, 37. Okay, it's only 30. It's not that exciting, but 37 pips ain't bad. Moving your stop along with you the whole.
So when you mean by add-on,
moving your stop around here, and then again, then you got an indication here with this green that there's a possible problem. It's now gone to sideways, and now the bias is down. Still doesn't mean that it's over. It depends on how you're doing this. You might have still just had the one entry, and you could afford to have your stop lower. But if you're doing the add-ons go the opposite real quickly too, because they're add-ons, and it's all multiplication. But see, right now though, really this is a rally-based rally. This could just be coming here to grab this right here to continue the uptrend up. But we don't know right now.
My quick question is, how do you confirm it's an add-on? Like, if just making sure, like, just looking at it, because I see the way that you're saying the changing of the candles, right? And then
yeah.
But how do you just confirm it's an add-on and it's not going to be like a change of a trend? Because I was actually having trouble just recognizing the setup and that. Like, that was like the two things that I was just kind of having trouble.
Yeah. Again, like I'm giving out the advanced stuff. We really shouldn't have gone over this.
I know. I love it though. Like, this is actually what I've been digging on right now. So like,
yeah. Okay. So, say your question one more time. I just want to say it one more time.
So just confirming an add-on, right? Like, I'm trying to. I'm kind of new. I'm just getting into it, and obviously like 2 weeks in, and I'm like starting to actually like get into like more of this stuff, and I'm loving it, right? So like just looking at the setup, right? Like, so my first question originally, which you answered anyway, which is like how to recognize the setup, and then just making sure to like kind of just be on track to know that it's an add-on, and then like kind of just be secure to know that it's an add-on, and not like get nervous if it's going to be like a trend switch.
Yeah. Well, okay. So here, again, first off, we actually haven't even found a setup yet. All we really did was go over the left side rules to identify trend. For there to be to identify, we've identified there's a setup with trend, but then we still go to the right side to identify actual zones. There's a way to fine tune, pick knowing how this stuff works, where it's at, where it's going to, and where it should be going to, that's like actually that's what meat and potatoes is. Again, this is cool. This is very special stuff once you've already understood. Usually, like I learned this stuff. I've been doing this stuff for a very long time. Usually you don't even get to what I'm teaching y'all until after you've probably had like 7 or 8 like 8-hour days in a classroom.
Yeah.
And then once you've had that, then you start dipping into some of this other stuff. But we're just
I've been spending a lot of time with
what's
Mike
that?
and Bobby. Like I've been spending a lot of time with Mike and Bobby. I know those kids since like high school. You know what I mean? So I've just been crash coursing with them, trading, watching.
Sweet. So you'll be good. But to kind of answer your question, really the trend again, it was on the 30 minutes, and the 30 minute when we had that is when we got the anchor break on the 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was down to setup. We got the anchor. We were showing that it was going to sideways for a possible trend reversal. So we were aware of that, but then we were watching it on the 5 minute. Again, this style, this right here, this is very risky because trend has not been confirmed yet.
Right.
Until we started to get it here on the 5 minute. So on the 5, we're just ignoring everything higher. We're using it for it's like it's zooming in. It's zooming in. It's on the daily, boom, it's violating the up anchor on the daily. But hey, guess what? The daily moves 90 pips. We don't care. Like, yes, this is very relative, but it takes a lot longer for a daily candle to move. You know how many 5 minute candles are in a daily candle? A whole lot. There's a whole lot of movement in a 5 minute.
Right.
So we're using the trend being violated or broken more or less, going sideways on a higher time frame, being a 30 and or 60 we were looking at. And then we're using those 5 minutes being super aggressive. Again, this is super aggressive, but showing how it's going from, again, here it was sideways, bias down. When we went to green right here, green action, red anchor, not engulfed, highs in control, hitting the highs here, low side way back here, don't care. Highs in control, who needs to be our action? We're highs are in control, downtrend. Is there a setup? What colors are our action? Green, yes, downtrend with the setup. Step 6 though, was there a level break? Yes, there's a level break because this green action candle is breaking the high of our anchor. So we're seeing on a higher time frame that it was downtrend with the setup to sideways bias down on a higher time frame. But then we're seeing that it's sideways biased down with an anchor break on the 5 minute. That's like, whoa, hold up real quick.
Right. That's right.
Now, and then as I watched that happen, then I got the red retracement, boom, and then the close above. As soon as that close above happens, we are now, close above happens, anchor, engulfed. Okay, it's engulfed.
And that's
but high side, boom, up here, low side right here. Okay, it's engulfed and it's sideways, but who's in control?
The lows.
The lows, right?
Right.
Those are in control. So it's a what kind of trend?
It's a uptrend.
Uptrend. So it's an uptrend on a 5 minute, on a smaller time frame. It was sideways bias down on the higher time frame, but down on the 5 minute, we went from down with the setup to sideways bias down to now sideways bias up because the bias is up. It's sideways, but the bias on it is up. And then as soon as I get that red candle right here, we now go to, what is that? Tell me what it is.
That's the same thing.
No, it's red action, green anchor, 2 green anchors, not engulfed. Low side hits here, high side hits here. Who's in control? The highs or the lows? This is going to make you better, I promise.
The highs? No,
Look
the
at your
lows
sheet.
still.
The lows.
Still the lows. Right.
The lows. So if the lows are in control.
Lows are still in control, pushing the market up still.
So it's what kind of trend?
With a sideways bias up trend? No.
Here, if the lows are in control, step 4, what kind of trend is that?
Oh, man.
Uptrend or downtrend?
That's an uptrend. No,
uptrend.
If the lows are in control, that's an uptrend, right?
That's an uptrend, right?
Yes.
So if it's an uptrend, step 5, what color does our action need to be?
Green.
Green. No. If it's an uptrend, what color does our action need to be?
Oh, red.
Red. What color is our action?
Right now, red.
Red. So we are now in uptrend with a setup.
Oh, okay. All right.
Step 6, okay. Is there a level break?
Yes.
No.
No, there isn't. Not on the other
Is our
candle,
red
but...
action candle breaking the low of our anchor?
Oh, no. Okay. No. I was looking at it the opposite way. Okay,
you're good.
Got it.
So we are uptrend with the setup, no level break. We are good to go. We were downtrend with the setup to sideways bias down to sideways bias down to sideways biased up to up with a setup. And actually this candle here, as soon as that wick went red, because it closed here and it opened there. I know it's hard to see, that cursor thing gets in the way.
I zoomed in, yeah.
Yeah, it closed here and then it opened here. But you see how there's this wick right here?
Yeah.
If there's a wick right here, if a candle closed here and it opened here, for that wick to be there, it has to be red. It is physically impossible. There's no way that this could be green.
Oh, so that candle did open red. Okay,
it can't be green. It can't go below the previous candle's close and be green. It has to be red. So really, that was red. As soon as that was red, you had that little red peak. This was a red candle, red action, green anchor, not engulfed. Low side hitting a wall here. High side hitting a wall here. Who's in control? Buyers are in control. You have buyers are in control. You have an uptrend with the setup. If you have an uptrend with the setup, what color does your action need to be? That little wick portion, when that was happening, it needed to be red. It was red. So uptrend with the setup. Step 6, was there a level break? Was the action breaking the low of our anchor? No. So really it was uptrend with the setup to then there right here. So you can see it very clearly. Uptrend with the setup because now action, anchor, low side hits here, high side hits here. Oh yeah, it's not engulfed. Buyers are in control, so that's uptrend. What color? Step 5. What colors are action? Red. Red action. Uptrend with the setup. Is it breaking the low? No. Uptrend with the setup. No. 2. Boom. Close even above. That's where. Here's where you would have started to see it. This really where you would want to do it based upon where y'all are at. So that would now be on the 30-minute, you were sideways biased down and the hour. But on the 5-minute, you were watching it go from sideways bias down with the setup, to sideways bias down right there because you're getting the close above, sideways bias down to still up, sideways biased, or right here, yeah, sideways biased up, or here was sideways, I'm sorry. Right here would be sideways biased up to when that portion was red, up with the setup, to really up with the setup, to boom, close above. Now you can see here clearly, while this is happening on the 30-minute, 60-minute, sideways bias down. Okay, yeah, that's great. Sideways bias down. It's showing me it's been going down, but the sellers are still in control, but it's biased. So I'm going down to a smaller time frame to be a ninja. And like, hey, if I can find this pattern happening on a smaller time frame, it's more risky. It's super aggressive, but I'm going to be a ninja and I'm going to jump in this market. And as soon as I get this close above either here, and because here you had the close above here. You get another close above here. That's still more aggressive and more advanced because it's still not a confirmed up with the setup. It's sideways biased up, but you're seeing that anchor getting close above the anchor twice now. So you could have done it there. But then really, if you're waiting for up with the setup, once you had that was right there. Then we could have gone to the right side to use the rules to identify a zone in here. But if we didn't, and we were just going for straight momentum uptrend trading, get the close above here, boom, we're in. It's can move up, bases out, close above, boom, add on. Close above, boom, add on. And then here's where we get the turn, where it starts turning.
And then
around.
I see that, yeah. I get it. But, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, to go and to kind of finish on that, like you're saying, like how do we know, like with a trend or something like that? Pretty much, you're getting a trend reversal on a smaller time frame and using that for your entry points, knowing that the higher time frame is having something going on. I'm using the smaller time frame with confirmation as a new uptrend is forming on the smaller time frame. And you're using that again, it's being aggressive because you're saying I don't care about the higher time frame right now. I'm just being a ninja in the market right now and using these rules to take it up. And then with atoms and all that stuff, like I said, you guys saw how that ended up being like 35 pips or whatever it was. And
but you could do the same thing, and if it plays out the same way on a higher time frame, or
5 pip risk for 35 pips real quick. What's that?
I say if you say so this like 5 minute, like the way you just did this, and if you do it on this, you say it has the same kind of trend on a longer time frame, say the 30 minute, it's kind of just confirmed, right? Like
yeah, if you have this stuff going on the 30 minute,
yeah,
like right now, okay, yeah. So here on the 30 minute, this candle closes in 12 minutes. We get to close above here, and then once it goes red again, you're now uptrend with the setup on the 30 minute.
Cool.
See what it looks, and so it's like, yeah, now higher time frame is starting to work with you on the higher time frame. See, this candle, same thing. It still closes in 12 minutes. I went to a 15-minute chart. Let's just for fun, let's do a 10-minute. No, I'm not giving it to us. Yeah, but again, things to be aware of though. Although this is there's stuff that we look for too. I'm gonna give you guys an example of a trade that I was in last night. What time is it, by the way? 9:45. Okay, we're gonna get wrapped up in a little bit too. But while we're still here, so see here, okay, 240, right? The 4-hour chart. So although this stuff is happening, we go here to the 4-hour chart, right? On the 4-hour chart, what are we? Anybody? Somebody?
Sorry, what was the question?
Well, what are we right now? What is the trend? Go through your...
Can't do it that fast. Is it downtrend?
Yep. Downtrend with what?
Sideways leaning.
With the setup.
Boom. Nailed it. Downtrend with the setup. Why? We got our green action, right? We got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red candles for our anchor. Is our anchor engulfed by the green? Nope. Take the high side till we hit a wall right here. We go up till we get a color change, green to red. That's right there. Green to red. Boom. Take the low side, go all the way across till we hit a wall. That's right there. We go down till we get a color change. That's right there. Boom. What one happened more recently in time?
Down. Or up.
The high side, step 4, who's in control? The highs or the lows? What one happened more recently in time? The high side. So that makes it a downtrend. Step 5, is there a setup though? In order for there to be a downtrend, what color does our action need to be? Somebody? Anybody?
For it to be a downtrend, the action needs to be green.
Needs to be green. What do we have? Green. So we are downtrend with the setup. Step 6, is there a level break?
No.
Nope. The green is not breaking the high of our anchor. So we are downtrend with the setup on a higher time frame. We're on the 4-hour chart. So although this stuff is happening, on the higher time frame always takes precedence. That's always going to be the bigger. The charts, the smaller time frames, it's just doing what it needs to do to go in between to grab higher time frames. So like those of y'all who have seen this before, let's go ahead and mark. This is basically a wick-on-wick overlap on the 4-hour. And this is the right side stuff, y'all. I know some of y'all haven't seen this, but this is not, again, the move outs, it's not pretty, but it's a drop. It's a kind of strong, not really all that, honestly, it's a boring kind of move into it, but it's a drop, it's a base. There are boring candles in here, and there's a move out. Okay, this is the 30 minute. Let's see what it looks like on the 60. Yeah, here on the 60 minute. Strongish move in because this open here went up, and then it's a more bearish candle. It's not still, it's kind of boring, but it's kind of not. Again, move in isn't as important as move out, but strong move in, basing, 2 basing boring candles with a strong move out. Y'all see that? Everyone who's seen this before? Drop, base, drop, strong move, strong-ish move in, basing with white space, strong move out, right?
Yeah.
White space, white space, white space. What did it do right here? Did price not come in right here, grab this portion of it? It didn't quite hit the white space on the 60, but I bet you there's probably white space there on the 30. Did it hit a white space on the 30? No, let's go ahead and take it down to a 5. But they're going to be, oops. Yeah, there's definitely white space in here with these wicks and all that. We do the count. 1, 2, 3, that's white space. Yeah. 1, 1, 2, 3. 3 wicks alongside a wall. Remember the count: 1, 3s, 5, 7s. Go ahead and make this bigger so it's clear. So this wick right here that came up, go ahead and make that black. Just for fun, we're going to make this spotted line just so we can kind of differentiate some of this stuff. See here, this wick, I'll make this real big. This is for those of you who've seen this before. This will make more sense to y'all than anyone else. But again, we don't know where these blue lines came from. But we have this wick here came into, before this had happened, we now have 1, 2, 3 wicks alongside a wall, do we not?
Yep.
So 3 wicks alongside a wall counts as white space. A count of 1, 3, 5, 7, that's an odd count. So there's white space right in here. Price came in and grabbed that white space right here when we were 4-hour downtrend with the setup, sideways bias down on the hour and 30-minute and all that stuff. But the higher time frame stuff, on the daily, we're breaking the uptrend, becoming biased. It's sideways biased down, or sideways biased up still on the daily. But on the 4-hour, we're downtrend with the setup, and then going to identify this area. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'll go ahead and make this 60 again real quick. On the 60 minutes, we had drop, base, drop, strong move in, boring candles, strong move out with white space. I went down to a 5-minute to show y'all more of the white space in this pattern. This overall zone is only 11 pips, and this portion's, not even a pip. But it came in, grabbed this, and is moving down. This whole box would have been our zone. 10 pips on a 4-hour downtrend with the setup is perfectly fine to take. But that's kind of understanding what's going on across the board. And look, as soon as it got to that white space, granted there's some stuff in here, but it just on the 4-hour, it chose this. We took it on the 5-minute being super aggressive, moving up. But as soon as we got this green candle didn't close above, we're like, whoa, hold up. But understanding what's happening on the higher time frame, this is moving up on the 5-minute, but it's hitting a 4-hour downtrend with the setup with a zone, a decent looking zone on the 60-minute. It got right into this thing when we were on the 60. When I identified this on the 60, I chose this area rather than anything else because that's what made the most sense for what was happening. But it grabbed this, and again, I don't know what's going to happen yet because anything can happen in trading, but just kind of understanding what's going on. It was downtrend with the setup on the 4-hour with a 60-minute zone. It's still a zone on the 4-hour, but we went down to a 60-minute to understand what was happening more, grabbed an area, and it's starting to work down. But we also got an indication on the 5-minute, took it for this portion up. As soon as we didn't get this green close above here, hold up, something's going to happen. And sure enough, next candle below was a red close. As soon as that candle closed red, this one opened, and that wick went up. That was green. When that was green, that was your anchor that was not engulfed with the highs in control with a green, with a green action candle. So that became downtrend with the setup on the 5-minute. Then again, it could have been coming to grab this, but the higher time frame says down. But we had a set of rules starting from down below here. We haven't really gone over the rules, but kind of giving you again a pretty good snippet of it. We had a reason and a rhyme following this up with the uptrend moving up until we had trouble, and now it's downtrend with the setup and or sideways. We don't know exactly what it's going to do, but we also know that it's hitting on the 4-hour down. 4-hour down with the setup. Daily is sideways biased down, but is breaking the anchor on our uptrend. And if this closes green today and we start to get red again, and then we get green, we're now downtrend with the setup on the daily, down with the setup on the 4-hour, sideways biased down on the 60-minute, hitting a 60-minute zone after we took our 5-minute super aggressive rally up, but it's hitting all this stuff, knowing what's happening on the bigger time frame. I'm not saying that this is going to hold on the bigger time frame, but this is what's causing this to happen. So it's kind of bringing it all together and understanding there's a million ways to skin a cat. The stuff that I'm teaching you guys and have been, and I'm going to continue teaching you guys, is to understand how to, again, massage the charts, understand what's happening on an assortment of time frames, and give you various ways to get into the market with rules to follow. None of the stuff is going to be like, oh yeah, go. There's rules to follow for every, although we didn't dive deep into the rules and we didn't even get to the right side of the charts, and we kind of got to some extra super advanced stuff. But as we dive more into this, there's rules for this stuff, and there's rules to follow that you do every time for when you're going to do an add-on, when you're going to do an anchor break, market order, or a retracement, or what's safer, what's not, and why, and understanding this white space and all this other stuff. Yeah, it's all going to make, I'm sure I know some of this makes sense now, but there's rules. My point is there's rules to follow for all this stuff, where it's not just, yeah, do it. It's like, no, there's a system in place. That's why there's rules here on this paper. That's why I'll give y'all rules for some of the stuff moving forward. There's rules to follow so you don't get in trouble, so you have a plan. Every time to have a plan. It's like also mindset. It's like JDR was talking about it yesterday, but like you almost want to be robotic with a lot of this stuff. But at the same time, you also have the ability to not be a robot. And although, yeah, it's the perfect setups right there, but there's also some other factors that you'll learn how to identify. You know what? I'm actually not going to take this trade because although, yeah, the setup's right there, but there's some reasons why this particular one might not work. But to what I was saying just a second ago with JDR, anyone can learn how to trade. Anyone can have a style and a system to understand how to trade, how to identify trades, how to take trades. That's the easy part. 95% of it is the psychological side of it. And he does psychological sessions every Sunday, I think at 9 Eastern, 8 Central Time. Anyone on this call, I would check out all of his stuff and be on his calls, especially the psychological stuff. I haven't seen much of his trading stuff. I know he trades really well, so I'm sure he's got some really good information there. I know for certain y'all want to be mastering the psychological side of it because it can happen to any of us. I understand this stuff very, very well. I still struggle with it sometimes because it's like, hey, you doubt yourself. JDR's session last night, if y'all watch that, if y'all watch his session last night, he nailed it on so many points. Just with, doesn't matter what happened in your last trade, your last 10 trades, your last whatever, or other life experience. You can't take other life experiences and put it into trading and just think you're naturally just going to be a good trader because you're good at basketball or you're really good at you're in real estate or you're whatever it is that you do outside of this. Oh, I'm awesome at that. I'm be awesome at trading. No, trading's unlike anything you've ever done. You can be really good at it, but you also have to have your mind in control too and not let emotions take over. Real quick before we go, because I'm going to wrap up. It's already been a couple hours now. What was that? Aussie, Swiss. Yeah, boom. So y'all see in the Discord group, I posted this. I posted this in the Discord group a couple hours before the session started. But to show you, this was a trade that I was in last night. I took it yesterday when the market opened. Let's see here. To give y'all the picture. At the time, I saw here this had been up with the setup. We were at the bottom of the anchor on the daily, kind of doing that and kind of doing it. Anyways, biased up kind of a thing right now. But so I knew that was going on in the daily. Market opened up. I saw this big, y'all remember this last time we were talking about walls. I saw this big wall here on the 4 hour. Solid candle up, no wicks, no breaks, just a solid, nice candle. We like walls, so we call those racetracks. I went down to an hour. That wall, that 4 hour wall is the same thing on the hour chart, right? On the 30-minute chart, it's the same thing. This big move here is the wall, that 4 hour wall on the 30. Granted, we have wicks and dropping and stuff like that, but you know, I'm aware of that. I like it to be a solid wall on the 60-minute and 30-minute. But something about this trade just told me. It's like I see it on the 4 hour. Sunday just opened up. Let's see, where's the open? Yeah, the open was boom right here. Go ahead and go to the hour. August. Oh, here we go. Gotta move over. See this candle here is August 7th. This candle's August 9th. It opened up, shot up, grabbed this, and came back down here, trying to move down, didn't close below. I saw this trade right about this. I was actually riding in a car home from Austin, Texas, I'm gonna go down to a 30 minute to show y'all how the wall stuff comes together. So I have that wall on the 4 hour. I see it on the 60. It's not exactly the picture that I like, but I saw it on the 4 hour. And I was like, you know what? I can get in this and probably make some money. So again, this candle right about here is where I saw this happening. This dotted line actually represents my entry. I'm out of the trade now. So actually just to bring it up real quick, just remembered I did this. So you can see, there we go. So you'll see here, entry line. You can see where that's where the trade had already started.
Yeah, bro. I don't have.
What's that? No, somebody was talking. I think they just got on their mic. But so you can see this. I was in this trade here. I'm just going to show you this screen to show you take profit. See where my take profit line is right below here on this area. Let's see, close that out. So that was earlier in the day, and I'll show you how I got in this trade in a while. But I just want to show you that this stuff works. This is trade I was taking, the trade I was in yesterday. I was in it. You saw that take profit line. That pink line is exactly where I had that. See how price moved its way up all the way up this wall? That line is where I had my target. The wick came just right to it. This drop base drop, wick on wick overlap, came right to it, boom, and shot price back down. That's what y'all are learning how to do. One, you can identify that for a short based off some other stuff. But I did that in real time, riding in a car, identified that, put all those numbers in there. But here's what I want to share with y'all. The psychological part of it, I actually got out of this trade way early because it did turn around at one point. It started making this move and then kind of came back down. See how it came back down to my entry line? I was like, you know what? I was like, it's Sunday. It's still slow. It hasn't moved too much. It's been up like 10, 15 pips. But because I didn't follow my trading plan, because I let emotions take over, I got out of a trade that was a very, very successful trade. It was still successful because I took profit out of it, but not a lot of profit and not nearly what I would have had. I share that again because the emotional, psychological part. I understand this stuff really well, but I still doubt myself sometimes. You think, oh, well, last time this didn't work out, whatever. So you know what? This trade's probably not going to work, and then you get out of it, although you know it's going to work. Don't do that. Be in control of yourself. Don't let past experience, if you learn a set of rules and understand what's going on, trust yourself. But I'm going to end with this. So as this had happened, we were, let's see here. I was basically, you see how this uptrend with the setup is starting up above here, but I got in right here. I actually had gone down to a 5 minutes. The 60 or that's what it was, 15 minutes. I was on no, that's 156. That's going to take a second because it's 156. It doesn't see that often. There we go. 15 minutes. So I saw in the 15 minute, when price was down here, I saw in the 15 minute, I got my green, red, green close above here. Then as soon as that went red, I was up with the setup. I took that using the 15 minute, understanding that there was a wall above. I knew that it was that. You'll start to see this stuff. There was this on the, there was that basing kind of happening. This basing is happening here. It's kind of this is a 60 minute. It's kind of up with the setup, down with the setup, sideways, bias, whatever. You go down to the other time frames, you're going to see all that stuff. So I saw that, but then I saw in the 15 minute how it went from green, red, green. First off, that's breakout right there. But then I had the red. Then I was up with the setup. That's where I got my entry. Entry point right there. Started taking it up, green, red, green, continuing the uptrend as that's happening on the 60 minute. Then on the 60 minute, I got the close. That's the anchor break line. I got a close above. It retraced, came back, grabbed this white space. I was in 15 minute anchor break with a close above. But you see how price also, it likes to come back and retrace to anchor break lines. At that time, there was an anchor break down here. It came and not only grabbed this white space, wick alongside a wall. See how that's even with that? I'm going to mark it to show you. I'm going to change that so it's more clear. Yeah, we'll keep that. See that wick came, grabbed that wick right there. I was already in it here, but price came back, grabbed that white space, and continued up. But I used the 15 minutes for rally base, rally base. I was in right here. Boom, in market order. Stop below here. Game was moving up. I saw it retrace back to here. I was like, a lot of times if it gets back to zero, I really should have just kept my trade as it was. I was about to fall asleep anyways, and I didn't. And then I saw, it went literally right to the target, grabbed this area, and dropped. But you see this happening on the 15 minute, going down to the 5 minute. It was going on. On the 5 minute, green, red, green, green, red, green, up at the setup, boom, green, red, green. I got to close. It kind of went sideways here, boom, close above. That's when I got it. Hung out, green, red, green, boom, and it continued to move its way up. So I was using the smaller time frame stuff. I knew what was happening on the uptrend. It was up at the setup before. Right now it's sideways biased up. So I know it's sideways biased up. Also, yeah, that was another part of it. Knowing how it was on the daily, is this not on the 30 minute? See how I have, that's my entry point. Rally in, basing, rally out. I think it was clear on the 15. Actually, no, that's what I'm trying to show you guys. It hit here on the 240. Sorry, trying to give like past examples of what you were thinking at the time, and then scrolling back to show it and have it all make sense in real time. You gotta go back a lot of ways sometimes. Yeah, there we go. I might show it on 60. Boom. Okay. So on the 4-hour chart, you see that back there. Do you not see this? Rally, there's that white space in here. On the 15 minute, that's where we're showing this. I know we're kind of jumping around right now. I'm not trying to confuse people, but this is all brilliant stuff. This is why I took the trade. Rally, base, rally. You guys have known that when we did the wick on wick overlap stuff. We know when we break this down, there's going to be boring candles, and there's going to be strong move in, strong move out, strong move in, strong move out. Here I have that big wick. I know when I go to a 5 minute, there's still going to be, because I have this strong move in and I have wick on wick overlap with a lot of wick on the downside. There's going to be boring candles inside of there. Big move in, boring candles, big move out. So I saw that was on the 4 hour. I identified that right here at the bottom of this wall, because did this not want to, again, I know we're jumping around, but like all this stuff, this is bringing all of it together. At one point on the 4 hour, I had a close below here on a 30 minute, a 60 minute, all that stuff. Is this not a giant wall? Is this not a giant wall? There's some wick in there, but that's a big wall. What did price do? It shot right through that wall, boom, cleared most of that and continued down to the very bottom of this wall. Usually at the bottom of the wall, it's going to turn around and send it the other way. So I know that on the 240, I looked for it smaller on the 15 minute. If I go down to the 5 minute to get to that area, it's way back here. Do I not have strong move in, boring candle, strong move out? Do I not have white space? Do I not have a section of the rule? This kind of clears a lot of that out, but established, cleared, established. There's a 3 count. There's a 3 count of wick right there. There's the exception. There's strong move in, strong move out, boring candle, all the stuff that we look for on the right side. So I knew that all of that stuff existed. It was hitting that level up with a setup or sideways biased up on the daily. The 4 hour wasn't giving me the picture I was looking for, but it was hitting the zone. It cleared that wall and was hitting the zone. Found the zone on smaller time frames. Saw that it was going sideways biased. Went down to a 15 minute to look for my color change up. Green, red, green. Market order. And had a rule and a reason to want to catch this portion of the wall on the 4 hour that was the most clear to see. I was going down to smaller time frames to have an entry point to take it to that point. Saw where it was going to turn around. On the 30 minute, we saw it, and the 60 minute. This mouse is being weird. To this area right here. Drop, base, drop. wick on wick overlap. If I take this down to a smaller time frame, there's going to be boring candles inside of there. Pick that as a great target. Why? Because that's where it is on the wall, that 4-hour wall. It came right to the top of that wall. Like I told y'all before, you like to go just a little bit below. I told y'all that last time. On the wall, you don't want to go right to the top of the wall because right below the top of that wall or on the 4-hour, there's going to be a drop, base, drop. A strong move in, boring candle, strong move out. Here's the top here. I'll draw the top of the wall. It's yellow. We got a yellow box. We should probably change that. We'll go purple. See, that's the top of that wall on the 4-hour. I told you on that last lesson last week, you don't want to go right to the top of the wall. You want to go just down below it. Why? Because I know when I go down to a smaller time frame, there's that purple line, I'm going to have a drop, a base, and a drop. Strong move in, strong move out. We don't see it here because we have the wick on wick overlap, but I showed y'all what the wick on wick overlap is. So when I go, let's just do this. Let's just go ahead and drive it all home. When I go down to, this mouse pad is being really weird. When I go down to that, I have a drop, base, drop. There's boring candles in here. Actually, is this even the right area? Okay. Let's make sure we didn't go too far back. Yep. See how it touched right in there. 5 minute, I have a drop, base, boring candles in here, boring. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because we're on a 5 minute now. So we have the big drop in, these 7 boring candles, boring-ish candles, strong move out. Seeing it on the 5 minute, seeing it on the 15 minute, drop, base, drop, boring candles, white space, strong move in, basing, strong move out. 15 minute, 30 minute, drop, base, drop, wick on wick overlap. I know in the 30 minute, if I go down to a smaller time frame, there's boring candles inside of there. But so that's something that I saw, understanding that it was sideways biased up on the daily. I saw gotten to the bottom of, so I was like, hey, I bet you there's a nice looking zone in there. Went and identified that nice looking zone. On the 30 minute, that's right here. I can break it down smaller to get the rally base rally, boring strong move in, boring candle, strong move out. Came right into there. Boom. So if I didn't get that entry, we didn't get that. I didn't because I came in the market and saw it was up here, but then I saw what it was doing on the 15 minute rally. It hit this area. I knew it hit a zone. It was already out of, see, that's how you get into a trade when it hit the zone and you're not already in it. Okay, but I want to be in this trade. I'm understanding how all these time frames are working, how the trend's working, how all this stuff's working. But then I'm just using flat out breakout market entry because I had the rally base rally, and then I'm uptrend with the setup with another close above. I had a 1 minute close right here too. I think actually I got it. I used this, and I think I went to a 1 minute close. When the 1 minute, I got the 1 minute close right above here. That's I just got 5 minute or no, I think it was 5 minute. I got it on a 5 minute close above this anchor on the 5 minute. That was my entry line and took it up. So that's using all of this stuff. Up at the setup, down the setup, whatever, understanding what's happening on time frames, where zones are. Then, I missed a trade because it already hit that level. And again, this is only a it's a 5 pip zone, you know, and that's a 5 pip zone for what's already been up, you know, from there, 60. You know, it's a 5 pip zone for, actually, if you got that portion of it, that's, 45 pips. My trade on it was, if I would have not got myself out earlier, 42 pips, but 5 pip zone for 45 pips, or using breakout, color change to the upside, and balancing all the rules for a nice little 45 pip move. Grabbing a wall. I knew this stuff would give it a little bit of trouble. See how this hit initially, and it came right to this drop, base, drop, basically white space, and sent it back down. Okay, guess what? It's almost mostly cleared that. Color change up, boom, and then it just continued to work its way up until we hit this area, and it's moving down. That's where I had my target. I knew it was going to turn around there, and boom. So I think that's a pretty good, we've been here for over 2 hours. I think that's pretty good for today. But yeah, any questions or anything? Something simple if so. But everybody good?
Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. Very welcome. Let's see, comments.
The chat is full of comments.
Okay. Awesome. I love it. How many people do we have in here?
We went from 50 on, but now there's just 16.
16? Okay, right on.
50 people.
No, good stuff though. Hopefully you guys enjoy this stuff. I'm gonna let Edwin know. I'm thinking, what works for people? You guys like want a morning time or nighttime is good for people?
I mean, honestly, I feel like most of the people here don't really have an issue with it, but you can ask them though.
Okay. Yeah, just kind of, like I said, I'll get back with you. I'm thinking maybe Thursday, either morning or I know evening. I'm not trying to be during other people's times also, but evening's better for me, but we could probably do a morning, but me and you'll talk about it. But
All right, perfect, man.
Cool. So appreciate y'all's time. Thanks for the being a part of it and the questions and being, just being a part of the process. So we're all in this together. So
Hey, thank you, man.
hey, you're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
Absolutely. Y'all all have a good night.